So now that we know a little bit about typefaces, let's go ahead and apply them. So I may or may not have mentioned this earlier, but there are multiple ways to actually incorporate typefaces into your web page. So one way is you could actually host them yourself, which means basically you would install them or store them onto your server, your host. And then when someone goes to your page, they would download the typeface and then be able to see your text as it was meant to be written. The issue with doing it that way is that you would have to have the rights to distribute those. So even if it was a free typeface, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have the right to distribute it to others as well. So anything that you put on your website, you need to have the rights to distribute, because anytime you go to any web page, you're actually just downloading the HTML and the content, be it images or video or audio, or whatever other content you might have embedded into your web page. So that's why you can't put images that aren't yours on your web page, especially if it's live. Right now, it's not a big deal because we're just doing it for educational purposes. But that is a large reason why a lot of my stuff that you see on my website is just pictures that I draw of my cone character and such. It's because I need to have examples for things. The main reason, honestly, is to make it so it's not super boring looking. But the other reason is I need to be able to show an example, and I can't just grab things off the internet because I don't necessarily have the rights to distribute those. So the other way of doing it is to actually just link to another site that offers it as like a free service. And Google Fonts is actually one that does. So we're going to link some typefaces to our page using fonts, Google Fonts. So you're going to go to fonts.google.com, okay? And that's going to bring you here. I'm going to click on the filters, and then you can type in up here if you want to see. I'm going to leave it here because I just want to see it as a body type. Actually, you know what? Because this is going to be my heading font, so I'm just going to do Teach Me Cone, and then I can kind of see what it would look like here. That's fine. You can see there's a bunch of different options down here. So in my case, if you remember, we need two main typefaces. I need the heading, right, which is my interesting, draw the person in, and I need my body font, which is just for legibility. There may be a third one where you have something where it's like a highlight or an accent. You might use it for a quote or something like that. So in our case, I'm going to go to the classification. I don't want to use handwriting because that doesn't really kind of fit my bill here, and monospace could kind of work because I do some coding in there, but display font is probably what you're going to want because those are your more visually interesting typefaces. So we're going to click on display font. We're going to sort it by trending. Typically, that's how you want to, or maybe most popular. Yeah, let's do most popular. The reason why it's good to do that, normally I'd be like, think outside the box. And to some degree, that is what you want to do. But by doing most popular, it means it's modern. It means that's what people are using. You'll be more trending with everybody else. So we're going to do my most popular. You can also do trending is also fun. And I'm just going to look for a typeface. I think that would work for, my site. So let's just... I'm just going to go with this one. I don't know if it's any good, but I don't want to spend much time on it. So I'm going to click on it. Okay. And then it has these options. It'll tell you a little bit about it, about how to choose. There's some articles here. And, it wouldn't be a bad idea to maybe look at these things. But we're going to go ahead and I'm just going to click on Get Font. Okay. So now you're going to see there's a little thing here that says, like a little baggie, right? Like I'm shopping. Just go ahead and click back on fonts again. So we get back in here. Now this time what I want to do is I'm going to take this out because I'd rather have the long thing because I'm going to work my body typeface now. And I don't want display because that won't work well. Instead what I'm going to use is going to be serif, okay? So I'm trying to do my body typeface. You could use sans serif depending, like if I was doing like, let's say, this looks like a serif font. If I was doing I did choose serif, that's why, oops, sans serif. If I was, doing like a newspaper or magazine kind of type website, it might make sense because it gives that feeling of it. But most of the time, you want to just use sans serif. So Roboto is very popular. I think that might even be the default for Bootstrap. I have to double check, but so I'm just going to kind of scroll down, and I'm just going to look for one I think that would work for the body. Railway is also another one I see quite a bit. Let's go with I'm just going to go with railway. You can choose whatever you want. Just go ahead and scrub through and you can see what the options are. So click on that one. Click on that one. There we go. And then we're going to also click on get font. Okay. I'm just going to do 2 for right now, but if you want to do a 3rd one, you could. So you can see there's hide selected families. That's not doing it anyway. And we want to click on get embed code. So you can download them and you probably could do it the other manner I was talking about. But there's a nice little how to use section. So if you are confused, although I'm showing you right now how to do it, but we're still going to do it the embed way. So we're going to click on embed, and it's going to basically give me the code that I need. Okay. Now, if you look over here, they will have some options here. So if you look at, depending on the typeface, they'll have more or less options. So if you look at, this only has one style. There are no other styles. So that's the only one that's an option. But you'll see that this one, because railway is kind of a more popular one, actually has a whole bunch of options. So you see it says full access and 1 value. So if you do 1 value, we could choose Roman or italic. We'll just do full access so we have both. And you can also see here, we can choose 1 value, and then there's other options here. So I could choose medium, blah, 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 blah. If I do full access, it just means if I want to use the other styles, those will also be incorporated. So right here you can see, because this is the railway one, it says railway, italic, and then it's got the weights and everything attached to it. If I do 1 value and it's this, you'll see it will say railway, and it just has the italic and then just display, and that's it. So I'll just do full access just to have all of them. Just means you have more options. Okay, so that's fine, but that's what those options are. Now we just need to take this and we just paste it into our site. So you're going to take this, it even tells you, put it in the head. So just click on copy code, go over here, scroll up to the top, okay, all the way. And then we'll just put this right after we have the spot here where I think I linked Font Awesome. And I'm just going to Control V or Command V and paste that there. I'm just going to hit tab, okay. And that will paste our typefaces. Now what we need to do is actually incorporate them into our area. So again, back here, you can see it actually gives you the embed code or the code that you would need in order to apply it to your whatever you want to apply it to. Okay, so what I'm going to do is there's railway and there's Anton. So I'm going to take, let's just take the Anton first. I'm going to hit copy code. Okay, I'm going to go back here, and I have to put this inside the style. So if you have an external style sheet, this would obviously go inside of there, but right now we're just using this one here. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to tab so that it looks more correct, and we'll put this here just to make it cleaner so it looks like the other ones. Now the thing I have to change is that right now it's looking for anything with a class name Anton regular. So I could put Anton regular on any of these, and then this would apply. I don't want to do that. I want to make this my defaults. So what I'm going to do instead is that this is meant to be my headings. So I'm just going to do H1, comma, H2, comma, H3, comma, H4, comma, H5, comma, H6. Okay. So what that means is that anything that is a heading, it's going to have these typefaces applied to it. Okay. So that's one. Now let's go ahead and do the other. So let's go up here and we're going to click and I'll hit copy code for the railway. All right. So this is going to be my body font. So I'm just going to go after this one and we'll hit Control V or Command V. So it's asking us to do a unique value. So I'm just going to tab like that, and then we'll tab. Oops, that's too many. Shift tab. And then I'm going to go like this. Okay, and then we need to give some options here. So you can see right now it just says weight and it says normal. So this weight we need to change it to. So I'm just going to do 400 because that's the typical kind of middle of the road. And then we also need to change this. This needs to be our typeface, right? So I actually do body so that it covers everything just in case. But this is less specific than these H1s. So we're going to do body. Then I'm going to do P for paragraphs, and then Q for quotes, and then maybe list items just in case. And that should theoretically grab all of those options. So use unique descriptive class, use value 1 to, yeah, so that should be good. We'll remove that. And you can see all the reds come out. Okay. Oops, did I do? Yeah, no, that was right. Okay. And then we're going to save it. I'm going to go to the, that's the wrong one. Here, we're going to go here and I'll refresh it. And I like it because watch, if you do English, it'll like switch as like there is no soccer ball at home for 2 ecological purposes. Great, but chocolate because it's the weird lorem ipsum. I just thought it was funny. Anyway, so you can see right here it did change the typeface, and you can see the body text also changed. Okay, so that looks good. We have now incorporated those elements. I want to show you one other thing real quick because I think it might be useful, and that was down here. I wanted to incorporate, not that one, sorry, here. Down here, I wanted to just do the typical like copyright, you know, whatever thing, all rights reserved. So in order to do that, I'm going to need that special character. So I want to show you how to get those. So occasionally, like if I try to write inside of my code, like where my content is, if I try to put something like this in here, notice that it's red. So actually, that's not going to be a good example. Let me put it somewhere else so we can see it more readily. Where's like the first thing that you can see? I guess we'll just go with card title. So let's say I put it here, okay? And we'll save it. This may or may not show up. I'm not even sure. Control R. Okay, it did show up. But you'll notice that when it was right directly next to it, it's gonna screw it up, okay? So if for some reason I need to do like a less than or greater than, I don't remember which one's which for those, symbol, it might get messed up, okay? So because some of the, this is a common problem in coding because certain things mean certain things. So for instance, like we do this and then N, if it's not gonna affect here, but in another programming language, that'd be enter on a new line, that would cause an issue and it wouldn't, like, but if I actually wanted my thing to print this, right, or log it or whatever your thing's going to do, it won't write it. And so it'll be weird. So you need what's called like escape characters. So we can do this as well inside of here as well. So what I'm going to do is down here in this section, before we do our things here where we were doing our what do you call social media stuff, I'm going to do another row in class before that row in class. Okay, so I'm just going to, after this container fluid, we're going to do a different section. So I'm just going to do section, class, and we'll just call it row. So it's going to be basically the same thing we've already done. I'm going to put a space in between these so you can tell, right? So I'm doing another section. This was one section, but we're going to do another section. And then inside of this section, we're going to do an article, like we do every time, right? Article, class, and this will be a column. I'm going to do column just because I already know what I want it to be. I'm going to do column 4, and I'm going to do offset 4 as well. Okay, like that. And then inside of here, I want to write out some stuff. So I'm going to say I want it to be copyright. So let's write this copyright. Teach me cone dot, and then all rights reserved, and then privacy policy. I just looked up like a general thing, policy. Okay, good. But if I actually want, instead of having copyright, so we'll just save that so we can see what the, oops, not like that. We'll just save this real quick. If I actually, let's do that. If I actually want this to, so I'll hit Control R, and now I can see there's the copyright. But if I want this to be the copyright symbol and not just copyright, we're going to need to use an escape character. So I'll probably link this here, but if we go to W3 schools and you just look up, they call it character entities. But basically we can grab these little bits here, and then you can use that in order to incorporate. So for instance, if I want to do the copy mark, I can just grab this and copy. I'm just going to copy that little bit there. We're going to go into here, and I'm going to replace this with that. Okay, and then we'll just go like that, and then I'll save it. And now when we go here and I refresh it, you will see now it's got that copyright symbol. And there's a bunch of other ones, and you can look them up. What's really probably the most useful one that you might want, for example, is let's say for some reason I wanted to put more spaces in between this teach me cone and all rights reserved. So you can see there's one single space now, right? So just one. If I hit space, 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 watch what happens. Come on. Control R. There's no extra spaces. So after the first space, HTML ignores. It'll only do one space. So a really common useful one is if you go into here, you'll see a non-breaking space, this and NBSP semicolon. So I'm going to copy that. And then you can see, we're not going to keep this, but just so you can see, I'll do one space. But now what I can do is paste this a bunch of times. And you will see, it's not the most clean way of doing it, to be honest, but now it'll put those extra spaces, right? Because it will read a space as kind of a character that it's like a reserve word, like a keyword. So in order to put more of them in, we need to use an escape character or character entities, they call it in here. But if you search for it and you just write HTML escape characters, it'll give you the same stuff. That's also a useful thing to know. I'm going to take these back out. All right. And we will save that. And so now it should just look like this. And so now we have our typeface, right? And we have our little bit down here. So good job.